No, nobody on our staff is going to be out at this point. But as far as the protocols, we got to continue to test. So, who knows what tomorrow will bring.
Do you have to
Clarify, you
test,
said nobody else, but still you're going to be without Joe, though, right?
That's what it looks like. Yeah.
Matt, do you have to test on, does everybody have to test on Thursday?
That is a great question that I can get you the answer tomorrow, but I really don't know. I mean, if we do, we do, and we'll test.
What's been the key for y'all to be able to be as successful as y'all have been without Devontae in the past couple of years?
That's a great question. It's just I think that's a great testament to the other players that we have on this football team being able to go out and do their job at a high level, and go out there and execute. So certainly we're gonna miss 17. He does a lot for this football team, brings a lot of leadership, obviously his playmaking ability, and but those are the circumstances that are dealt, and our guys understand that the standards and expectations don't change.
You mentioned yesterday that Marquez has a shot to play. Would that be, A, how's he doing? And then B, you guys aren't really going to practice. Is that a kind of a gamble there to put a guy out there who hasn't really practiced?
Yeah, he's getting better and better, and he's running every day. He's working hard to be back out there, and it's just going to be a matter of where he is on game day.
How about Winfrey and Blair? How are those guys progressing? And might you have to lean on those guys at least a little bit? Or one of those guys, I should say.
Yeah, potentially, absolutely. And Winfrey's already been up for a game this year, and so he's a guy that we've got a lot of confidence in. He was up for a game last year, I believe. So it's not like it'd be his first time out there. As far as Blair's concerned, he's another young guy that we've got a lot of confidence in, that if need be, that he can go out there and he'll do a great job for us.
I don't know how to ask this without A, sounding like a jerk, or B, putting you in a spot where you can't quite answer it, so I apologize. Is there a difference for you as a coach between if unnamed anonymous player A is vaccinated and tests positive compared to anonymous unnamed player B who isn't vaccinated and can't play even though he hasn't tested positive? Is that not a competitive disadvantage for your team, that a guy who is not tested positive, if that scenario were to be the case, can't play for you?
Yeah, certainly. Anytime you don't have your guys, that is a competitive disadvantage. But as far as listen, everybody's got choices in this world, and I'm not going to be the guy that's going to sit there and criticize people for doing what they believe is right. So it is what it is, and we'll make the best of it.
Matt, could Malik Taylor help you, or he hasn't practiced for 2 weeks. Is there any way he can help you?
Oh, potentially. We're trying to ramp him up, and we'll see where he's at. But you're right; he hasn't been around for a while, and we just got to see where he's at. Certainly, we never want to put anybody in a position where they could, further endanger themselves, or put their self at a higher risk than any other time they go out on the field. So I know he's doing everything in his power to get out there, and there's a ramp up for that, but we'll see where he's at.
And what was your day today? It looked like it's 5:15.
Yeah, it feels like 2 days. So got in early this morning. Basically what we did was, the morning was dedicated. That was like our typical Wednesday, and the afternoon was more like a Thursday, and then tomorrow morning will be like a Friday.
Do you settle on Jerry Gray or anybody to call plays on Thursday?
Yeah, so Jerry will call it, and certainly it's still going to be a collective effort from all the guys. We got a lot of confidence in our defensive staff, and KO will communicate the call to Dre out on the field, and that's how we'll roll.
Matt, this team's had, over the last decade plus, has had a couple of really crazy games out there in Arizona. Just curious, in your coaching career in the NFL, are there any games in that stadium that stand out to you that kind of fall in the wild and crazy category?
I can't say that any of that just pop off the top of my head right now. I mean, we played them when I was in LA, obviously, being in that division, and then when I was in Houston, and I want to say there was one other time that I'd been out there, but my memory's not great right now.
Hey, Matt, were you able to find out about Devontae before you started doing your game plan at all? Or, I mean, did you have to do a huge shift all of a sudden once you found out?
No, yeah, we found out pretty early in the process, so certainly some of the stuff was already kind of planned for, but, you know, that's just, you always have to have contingency plans, whether stuff happens in game where you have to pivot, and I think we have enough versatility within our offense to do that.
Matt, I'm not stupid enough to ask if there's a positive to not having Devontae. I totally understand there isn't, but does Aaron play differently when he doesn't have Devontae? Is there any change in the way he plays the game? Like, is he more, you know, very much exactly how the offense has been designed, or does his style of play change if he doesn't have him?
You know, that's tough to say. I think a lot of it is situationally, you know, when you get in those tight spots, typically, when you have a legit number one receiver, you're going to go to that guy and you're going to try to find a way to get him the ball. And I would say that we all kind of adjust as play caller, just schematically on offense, and that's just what you have to do.
Does any part of you embrace this? I mean, obviously you want to have your guys, but this is a fairly big challenge. Is there any part of you that says, you know, bring it on?
Yeah, I think we always embrace every challenge and every opportunity, every time to go out there and compete. And, you know, it will be a great challenge for us. We're going against the best team in ball, 7-0 at their place, primetime game. I'm sure that place will be rocking. So it is a great challenge. I mean, they've got a lot of playmakers on their offensive, on the offensive side of the ball, starting with their quarterback. I mean, they got Pro Bowl wide receivers, and I think they don't get the credit they deserve up front. I think when you look at their defense too, I mean, these guys are flying around making plays, and they've got a lot of just team speed, really, in all three phases.
We saw Jair without a sling on during the game. Do you have any better idea if you'll get him back at some point this season?
I think we're optimistic, but to tell you when that will be, I can't tell you that.
Hey, Matt, you know, just with Jerry Quick, obviously his resume goes without saying in the National Football League, but what have you thought of just kind of getting to know him as a person, and why do you think his message is able to sort of resonate as well as it has with, you know, that defensive backs room?
Yeah, I think, well, first of all, you look at his past experiences, you know, being a player in this league, and I think he does a great job of mentoring all those players in that room in terms of what it is to be a pro and how to get the most out of your career. And, you know, he's a guy that I kind of lean on at times as well, just to get his advice on certain things. And so we're very fortunate to have him a part of this organization and part of this coaching staff.
What's the decision-making process on whether you want to activate David or not for Thursday?
Well, a lot of it comes down to just, you know, collectively with David being part of that group, you know, our medical staff, obviously Goody and all of us kind of getting together and just to make the best determination of where he is and if he's ready to go or not.
So it's still a possibility.
I think everything is up in the air with him in terms of, I said a long time ago, it'll be day to day, and but, you know, the last thing we want to do is, again, put him at further risk. He's coming off a really significant injury. He looks great. You know, he worked his tail off. He's put a lot of hours in, and you know, we just want to make sure the timing's right.
Do two more, please.
Matt, I know you get asked these types of questions a lot, and they're kind of tough to be put on the spot at us, but was there a moment in training camp where you looked at Campbell and saw hey, this guy needs to have a greater role? Like, was there, I'm not saying a light bulb went on, but you'd been with him before, he was running with the twos for a good chunk of camp. What changed? Because obviously he's been huge for you.
Yeah, he's done a great job. I don't know. I think it's just, anytime he came in late in the process in terms of OTAs, and it takes a minute to learn everything. And obviously he got up to speed pretty quickly, and he's done a hell of a job, and we're fortunate to have him. He's really been a great leader out there, and he's naturally a quiet guy, but I think you hear him becoming more and more vocal, and obviously I think his play kind of speaks for itself.
Man, are you guys going out there tomorrow like you would leave at a normal time on a Saturday, or is it an adjusted schedule?
No, we're going to leave about roughly the same time that we typically would leave.
Do you do anything tomorrow, like walkthrough or anything like that?
Yeah, so tomorrow morning we'll have it'll be a partial practice / walkthrough, and then we'll get on the plane at about 1:30 and fly out there. And when we get there, we'll give the guys some time, and then we're going to have some night meetings, and then follow that up on Thursday morning with some more.